The first separation from the mother begins for girls between ages 7 and 11, and for boys between 7 and 13.
Yes.
That's the first separation.
This is the first global one. We're talking specifically about global separations right now. There are many separations overall.
Right.
They're layered and nuanced, but globally there are two: puberty and adulthood.
This is the period when the energetic bond with the mother is broken, while the connection with the father remains for children of both sexes.
Yes.
Meaning that for both boys and girls, the connection with the father remains for life.
And it actually becomes more intense. That's when creative potential, abilities, interests, and spheres of action begin to activate in both boys and girls. It's like developing photographs in a dark room with special chemicals. Suddenly, the image starts to appear. That's exactly what happens at this stage. And the more the mother allows differentiation, real detachment, the faster the child's abilities, knowledge, and skills come online. At this point, the child may act out intensely if the mother clings to them with her hands, teeth, and feet. Then the behavior becomes genuinely extreme, because for the child, this is literally a matter of life and death. Life and death. Later on, closer to age 40, it determines whether that person will die around 39 to 40 or not, depending on how fully they were able to rebel, separate, and break free from the mother at this stage. And some fascinating things happen here. When there's a tendency for a mother to unconsciously treat her son as her man, the boy's hormones begin producing a kind of biological skunk signal, so that the mother can't even stand entering his room and thinks, how can socks and sweat smell this bad? It's unbearable. Additional chemical processes activate specifically to push the mother away, because the son subconsciously feels that she hasn't let go yet, even if the mother is hundreds or thousands of miles away. If she's still holding on to him energetically, he will have a very unpleasant odor, because she has already infected him with toxins.
Biochemically, the mother perceives that smell very strongly.
Yes, the father. Well, sometimes he smells like that too.
Like a skunk.
Don't torture them with my socks. Just let him die symbolically, without the smell.
Okay, but aside from separation at this age, 7 to 11 for girls, 7 to 13 for boys, what other processes are happening? Does what was previously loaded continue to operate?
No, it shifts into a different
Does it
state.
continue to operate and evolve?
Here's how it works. Up until this age, children are gods. Even if they were born as part of an unrealized parental program, they're still considered gods. They have access to everything, everywhere. Then, during separation, 7 to 11 for girls, 7 to 13 for boys, access changes. For girls, access to the material world is restructured. For boys, access to civilizations and informational fields shifts. At that moment, the connection breaks, immunity weakens, because immunity depends on wholeness, and issues with the thymus gland begin. If we navigate this correctly, allowing boys to become boys and girls to become girls, the thymus remains active. And then we're talking about youth, literally prolonged youth.
Can the father help in this process to support separation from the mother, especially if the mother is clinging? For example, when a 10-year-old boy still comes to sleep with his parents.
He can't.
The father can't help at all?
The father is a background program. He's like a radio station. If you tune into it, you hear the music. If you don't, you don't. He's always broadcasting, but the child is still matter, primary matter in this world. On one hand, matter depends entirely on the energy of civilization, the energy of the future, the energy of higher forces that reanimate it continuously, like a heartbeat that sustains the whole organism. Those forces give life, but they give life to matter. And if matter refuses to release the child, that means the mother is completely failing her role. She's fully immersed in fear, endurance, self-erasure, manipulation, and self-deception. You can clearly see infantilism, resentment, jealousy, victimhood, and consumer mentality in her.
For girls, the second phase, full energetic and physical separation from the mother, happens at 18. For boys, at 21. At the same age, partial separation from the father occurs. However, his informational field continues to influence them afterward.
Yes.
The period between the first and second phases seems to be the hardest, roughly ages 11 to 18 for girls and 13 to 21 for boys. The peak of puberty feels like 15 to 16.
And here's why. A boy needs to learn how to be a man. A girl needs to learn how to be a woman. If boys are roughhousing, playing, and girls are playing house, the foundation here is male-female communication. This is an insanely complex process. A girl must learn to love her external manifestation, boys. A boy must learn to listen to his inner world through attraction and interest toward girls. That's why friendships between boys and girls are essential at this age. If you restrict that, I won't even elaborate. You're doing serious damage. Yes, extremes can happen. Yes, sexual experiences may occur, but that depends on how well you handled earlier stages. Those are compensatory mechanisms. And I'll say this again. If the mother is happy, both boys and girls will find their path, their partners, their friends, their first love, their first infatuation. The most important thing, let them live. Don't try to control, direct, or micromanage them. You can express your opinion, but from ages 13 to 18 to 21, you are powerless. The only thing that influences them is your authority. And authority equals how much happiness, love, and embodied aliveness the mother is living from.
Does the father's role at this age involve heightened responsibility?
Here's the thing.
As a role model,
When a father doesn't accept the future, meaning he's driven by jealousy, hyper-control kicks in.
especially toward girls.
Toward both girls and boys. Because he invested very little earlier, he tries to take life energy through control. No money, no freedom, no social life, sex only after marriage and only with someone I approve of, and so on.
Got it. At 25, childhood officially ends. This is the critical transition. Full independence, ideally full separation should occur by 25.
I'd phrase it differently. Full integration with the world, where both cosmic and earthly energies coexist. That's more accurate. And my personal opinion, try having children after 25, for both men and women. Seriously, earlier, 21 was already considered late. At 18, it was ideal. Even 16 was normal. The reason, there was very little internal software. People mostly existed on inertia. Now the capacity is massive. It's like comparing a 1.5 megabyte floppy disk to a tiny 4 terabyte flash drive. That's who we are now.
Okay, the background informational connection with the father remains, and please explain this. But the connection with the mother must be completely severed. What does that mean?
It means let the mother continue being happy, healthy, and sexual.
So after 25, the mother doesn't participate at all?
At all.
Not even with advice or as a counselor?
God forbid becoming a friend. That's a trap. Being a friend to your son or daughter. Total trap. The daughter will live your life, drain your achievements, and may manifest them externally. Cars, new partners, new businesses. Or she'll burn it all down. Alcohol, cigars, reckless living, and somehow look perfectly healthy while you grow sick and fade away.
Okay, what are the ideal reference quality relationships between a mother and her children after age 25? If she's not a friend, not a buddy, not a therapist, and not a financial safety net.
She becomes a deep embodied sage. Someone the child can come to at the right moment when there's a real need and simply sit in silence with, without asking anything. And if the mother is
In the right state, yes?
in the right inner state, she'll make coffee, bake some pastries, do something simple,
Or order sushi.
or bring out a cake, talk a little, share what she's currently into, what she's working on, which cat she's adopted again, or what tree she planted in her yard.
Or which cat she planted. Just kidding.
Yes, and that creates an effect. The child just came to check in, they had tea together, maybe didn't talk about anything important at all, or talked about something new in her life. No advice needs to be given, no advice needs to be asked for. And somehow, you leave knowing exactly where to go and what to do. Because at that point, the mother steps into the role of a sage, not a sage who dispenses information, but a sage who provides an inner axis. If you want, you can simply come and do nothing with her.
A kind of all-accepting cozy field.
She subtly tunes all your internal processes to the larger matrix, but only if you fully separate it. She gives you true vision of what's happening in the world.
So the mother,
Presence, just presence.
presence, all accepting presence.
Yes, yes, and you'll only need that presence in very small doses, just a little.
By this age, around 25, it's desirable for girls to have boyfriends and for boys to have girlfriends. And active interaction with the opposite sex is essential for boys from 21 to 25, and active interest for girls starting from 17. But that doesn't mean it's forbidden before that, right?
We already talked about how this is the formation and embodiment of the role. I am a boy, she is a girl. It's like this. I used to relate to children simply as children until I had my own. And then I realized children are something else entirely. Same thing here. Before puberty, boys relate to girls as just kids, and girls to boys the same way. After puberty, everything takes on a completely different tone, a different depth. From about 13 to 15 to 16, there's an attunement to oneself. What's actually going on inside me? What are my parameters? And that can only happen through another person. A girl can't sit in a monastery and attune to male parameters. A boy can't isolate himself and somehow attune to femininity on his own. That won't work. Those will be false attunements.
By age 21, boys form a reserve of resilience, and by 25, there's a determination of their real capacity for realization. If childhood lasts until 25, then by 31 it's desirable that most people have identified the talents, directions, values, and interests they were born with. So can we say that from 25 to 31, a person needs to settle into their lane?
Yes.
What does that look like?
It's similar to the developmental milestone where children are supposed to start jumping, lifting off the ground, by around age 5.
Definitely by 4. By 4, everyone should be jumping.
Right. And that means some kids might start jumping as early as 7 to 8 months once they're standing, or at a year and 2 months. But 5 is the outer limit. So if you're only figuring out what you want to do with your life at 31, well, that's, bluntly speaking, very stupid.
That doesn't mean you'll do that one thing forever. It means you've found yourself.
Exactly.
Yourself and your abilities.
You might go on to do 20 or 100 other things, but right now, this is it. And how do you know? Because when you're doing it, it fills you. It lights you up from the inside. It gives you sparkle in your eyes. It brings genuine interest in life. Why do so many university students today struggle with suicidal thoughts? Because they're studying something that doesn't align with their calling. That's it. Just that. As a result, there's no connection with peers, no personal life, because they've stepped away from their path. Why? Because they acted from the worst possible principle. I need to make money. This has to bring money. I need to become someone. That's it. You're already a corpse. Just a matter of time. Drugs will take you out, suicide will take you out, or some random situation on the street will. Your task is to listen to your felt sense and move toward what creates life, creatively. Because if there's a desire to smoke, drink, or use substances, that's a clear signal you're deeply unhappy. You're completely off course.
Okay, ages 31 to 45. The transition into the active phase of realizing one's destiny. Before this, all processes exist in a dormant or semi-dormant state.
Yes. Yes.
So from 31 to 45,
he's still nobody.
It becomes absolutely necessary.
Look, between 25 and 31, a person might make millions, hold a high position, but he's still nobody, because he's not yet connected to the global energy information networks. If that connection happens earlier, he'll simply burn out. He won't live long. Or, if he does live long, his brain will slip into a kind of inert, half-functioning state. Most likely he just won't live. So we're not talking about realization yet. Yes, money can come, but the depth of awareness, the capacity to receive and process powerful information, that only comes after 31.
Could this also be called a kind of destiny correction?
No, at that point, it's no longer correction. It's impact. You either hit your destiny or you land in a serious meat grinder that will chew you up completely. As I've said before, what we call bad is simply good.
So basically, you either hit the mark or you miss.
Exactly.
And if a man or a woman misses, Can they catch up after 45?
They can, yes, but the processes will be very different.
The scale will be smaller?
Yes, they'll still move, still realize themselves. There are people who arrive early just to adapt and whose real life begins after 60. But those are individuals assigned to very specific global tasks. You could say the rest of us work for them.
They're sort of in preservation mode?
Yes, but not preserved. They're staying informed. It's like when someone is appointed to a leadership role. They come in, work alongside the current director for a while, learn everything. That's entering early so they can later step fully into leadership. But those people are rare. They're guarded by massive energy information systems. Thousands can be sacrificed if someone tries to interfere with their path. Such obstacles are removed instantly. They come directly from the architecture of the universe. But again, these are exceptions. Most of us can relax. We encounter such people very rarely. And when we do, we feel their immense influence immediately. We become observers in their field.
Up to age 71 for women and 73 for men. The period of fulfilling the mandatory destiny program. And after that, does a free program begin? A voluntary contract?
Free is a metaphor. You still have a defined set of qualities, but within that you can choose from a place of genuine fulfillment what to engage in.
Can we say that, until 71 for women and 73 for men, it's not an option to give up on yourself, write yourself off, or retire from life?
Ideally, yes. One simple indicator, if we're being blunt, is whether you have regular, vibrant sex. If you do, that means you're aligned with your program. Not that you talk about it, but that it's alive and you don't need to talk about it because it genuinely fulfills you from a place of embodied aliveness. That's how you know you're in the program. Menopause doesn't take over you. Healthy potency and real partners, natural ones, not artificial substitutes. That's it.
Okay, let's say this brings our second block to a close. You've laid out an ideal model, one that already resonates with us as listeners, both informationally and energetically. In the third block, during Q&A, we'll look at what happens tactically when things don't unfold so ideally.
Yes, and we skip many stages. Ages 36, 39 to 40, at 36 to 37 and 39 to 40, a huge number of people simply leave life. Half of them stop existing. And when we talk about having children after 36, that's a completely different state. Your capacity to give multiplies every single day. Children born after this age aren't just children. They're reservoirs of immense potential, capable of bringing real change to planet Earth.